Hey guys, welcome to Voice of Reason with Nathan. In today's episode, I wanted to share some insights on the shame trap. The shame trap. Now, shame is a healthy human emotion that we all experience in one way or another, but where it gets destructive is where it starts to drill down into our identity, and we have this negative feedback loop that tells us we're less than, we don't have any value, any worth, based on what we've done, based on some perceived notion of, culture, society, whatever it might be, saying that you're less than because of this or that. Now, this is important because there are some healthy experiences of shame. Say don't help an old lady cross the road when they need obviously some help. You just walk past them. You should be ashamed of yourself. That's a horrible thing to do, right? And there should be a level of guilt for that behavior and not taking care of that old lady. And there's also the shame that's attached to that, where people that might be around and see that and go, oh, what a rude person you are to just walk past that lady, and someone else gets out and helps them, And so there's a healthy shame there attached to that says, hey, you should have helped her. You need to look at yourself there, buddy. That's not okay. And so there's that level of healthy shame that I'm trying to encourage people to be aware of, and that's okay, because it helps us to then live our lives a better person and change and destructive behaviors and things that aren't okay. We can work on those. Now, there's an unhealthy level of shame. Say that person that walks past that grandma and doesn't help them, then they go home and they think, oh my goodness, I am a horrible person. I'm terrible. Oh my goodness, I'm worthless. I'm a filth. I'm rubbish, And then they just start to listen to that negative feedback and, start to play that tune again and again. And then they just keep going deeper and deeper into that. And, and that's where it becomes destructive, instead of seeing it as oh man, I'm not actually, that's not, for whatever reason I was distracted, I should have helped, or I just didn't think of it. Man, I need to change. I'm going to change that. I'm going to not do that again. That was stupid. I should do something differently next time. I'll help the lady, So this is what I'm talking about, where if you're caught in this shame trap, and that's the trap, is where you start to dwell on the negativity, start to dwell on, you're worthless, you don't have value because of something that's happened to you or something that you've done. That's where it gets really, really destructive. And the way to avoid and escape that is really about understanding where you get your sense of value and worth from. That's your number one. How do you see yourself? Number one. That's so important. And as Christians, we see ourselves based on the value that God has given us through the cross, through Jesus Christ, and the price that He has paid for us and for all of humanity, for all of the world. And it says, for God so loved the world that He gave His only Son, that whosoever believes in Him should not perish but have everlasting life. I mean, that should really tell everyone, show us the amazing value and worth that we have as people, and that God sees us that way. So that's number one. You see yourself in God's eyes as having that value and the worth. Now, if you've done something that you're ashamed about, reflect on what that is. Be honest about it. Maybe talk to someone about it. You might need to write it down, clear your head, get some clear perspective on it. So then you can say, okay, what could I do differently? Maybe there is something that doesn't line up with my values in what I've done there. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. And maybe there's something differently I could do, right? And many times in counseling, I've seen this, where people have come in and they've acted like, I shouldn't feel bad about this, but I was like, well, no, actually, yes, you should, because that's not okay. What's happened there, and you need to change something in that, you need to stop doing what you're doing there, and that's going to help you to feel better about yourself as well. Now, you are better than that, and that's why you can change. The fact that you see your true worth and value beyond your behavior helps you to then change your behavior. If I see myself as worthless and I don't have value, why would I want to change anything? It's pointless, because that's just who I am. I'm rubbish, I'm worthless. But the reality is that you're not. You're actually amazingly valuable. You have a lot of worth, incredibly worth, that Christ has paid the price for, and God has revealed that to us through the gospel. So if you see that, then it's like, well, I want to change my behavior. So there's that place of the shame trap where you can escape it by making adjustments, by changing the way you act, by by snapping out of that thought process and saying, well, what can I do about this? Instead of getting caught up in the emotion, getting caught up in just believing this negative feedback, stop that, start to take action, talk to someone, write down your thoughts, journal or whatever, do something differently, instead of just playing that game. What could you do differently in your behavior? Now, there's the other side of this as well, where things have been done to people that shouldn't have been done, and then they carry that shame as if it's their fault. And now this is where I just want to speak into that very quickly. If something's happened to you and you feel shame about that, that's where it's important to get some help. Talk to someone about it. You might need to, just get some professional help in that. But this is the key, right? Realizing that's what's been done to you doesn't have to happen in you, right? So even though something's happened to you, that's not who you are. That's external to who you are. Now, it shouldn't have happened, and there might be things that you need to do that you can now, hold that person to account. Get support around you to hold that person to account that's happened to you for. And through that, you're lifting up your sense of worth and your value, saying, well, that wasn't okay. I shouldn't be treated like that. That should never have occurred. And now I'm going to do something about it. And it's not necessarily that you're going to get that person in trouble or anything. It might be, and okay, depending on the situation, that might be what needs to occur. But it might also be about forgiveness. It might also be about seeing things differently. But number one, realizing that it's not who you are. That's done something to you, and that's not your value, that's not your worth, and that wasn't okay. But you can be okay. You don't have to stay in that place. You don't have to see yourself that way anymore. And that's where you need to take responsibility for you and see yourself differently in that circumstance. So again, it's like the buck stops with you, right? So that's happened to you. It shouldn't have happened. But now what do you do about it? How do you change? What do you do from that? And having counseled many people through trauma, through abuse, through things that should not have happened to them, even accidents, car accidents and different things that have happened, people left with the consequences of that physically, emotionally, mentally. Now it's like, okay, what can I do about it right now? How can I shift this negative feedback that I keep getting, the trauma, the flashbacks thing? What can I do about this right now in this moment? And it comes back to your identity, the way you see yourself, what you can do about it in terms of talking to someone, journaling, doing something differently behaviorally, stopping those negative thoughts when they're hitting you, and they're becoming aware, self-aware of those things. There's a whole range of different aspects to that, but it's really coming back to that reality of taking that ownership responsibility in that place and seeing yourself as having value and worth, and you're amazing and all of that stuff, and lining up your values and your behaviors and all of that to break out of the shame trap. All right, so guys, hope this has blessed you. Take care and go for it.